Now let's see how the cylinder head is removed and reassembled. Remove the air cleaner cover and filter element, then take out the intake manifold. The film shows the vacuum sensor or clogging indicator. Its function is to warn you when the air filter is clogged by means of a warning light or buzzer. Don't strain the speed governor spring when you disconnect it from the intake manifold. Take off the exhaust manifold, complete with silencer, then the fuel feed pump after removing the fittings. The silicone O-ring on the flange must be replaced whenever the fuel pump is disassembled. Whenever you check whether the pump pushrod protrusion is between the indicated limit values, make sure the rod lies on the cam base radius. The film shows another critical engine component located in the cylinder head, the speed governor. Once you've removed the camshaft gear, take out the support housing, the camshaft bearing on the timing side. Remove the bearing and then all the governor components in the following order: the 4 flyweights unit, the sleeve, the axial roller bearing, and the wear plate. To disassemble the fuel limiting device, torque adapter, just loosen the 19mm hexagon. By so doing, the component can be removed without altering the fuel setting, therefore the power rating. By unscrewing the pin that connects them to the cylinder head, the governor levers can be removed. Take care to reassemble those levers in the right position. When fitting back the pin that fixes the levers to the cylinder head, tightened at 0.6 Newton meter. When the governor is being mounted, follow the sequence: wear plate, then flyweight holder, sleeve, and axial roller bearing, already pre-assembled. Now fit back the camshaft bearing holder, tightening the screws at the requested torque. Remove the valve cover, unscrew the nuts of the rocker arm pin supports and take it off the cylinder head. Now we're ready to disassemble the cylinder head. When taking off the cylinder head gasket, it's very important to check the condition of this critical component, both near oil and water holes. Carefully check the flame rings around each cylinder. The cylinder head gasket of Fox engines is available in 3 thickness values, identified by the number of small holes on a side winglet. The distance between piston top and engine block surface, here called A dimension, is used to determine the thickness of the appropriate gasket. In fact, the piston with the largest A dimension will determine the thickness of the gasket to be mounted. Please refer to the following tables. If the A dimension of the most protruding piston is between 0.97 and 1.06 millimeters, then choose the gasket without holes. If the A dimension is between 10.7 and 1.16 millimeters, the right gasket will have one hole. If the value is between 1.17 and 1.25 millimeters, choose the thickest gasket available, that is, the one with two holes. In our example, we found that the most suitable gasket was the one with two holes. After an engine overhaul that required grinding, you must check that the extent to which the pre-combustion chamber projects from the top of the head is within the given tolerance. We now reassemble the cylinder head. The original cylinder head bolts can be reused as long as their length does not exceed the allowed tolerance. In fact, to prevent the cylinder head from loosening, the head screws are tightened both to torque and angle until yield point is reached. The resulting strain then increases at every subsequent tightening. Fit the required washers between cylinder head and bolts to ensure a correct tightening. The table shows the cylinder head tightening procedure for each FOCS engine, depending on the number of cylinders. It's very important to follow the indicated sequence to prevent the cylinder head from being warped during the operation. The cylinder head must be tightened in 3 steps. First, tighten the bolts at 50 Newton-meter torque. For the following 2 steps, the angular tightening tool must be used, turning 90 degrees each time. After assembling the head, mount the rocker arm pin complete with its supports. Make sure that each unit injector goes together with its push rod, previously identified with a reference mark. Tighten the nuts that fix the supports to the cylinder head at the indicated torque value. After fitting the fuel-limiting device or torque adapter, connect the governor spring to the intake manifold. Replace the gasket between intake manifold and cylinder head. This gasket must be replaced each time since the tightness between the two parts must be perfect to prevent dust from entering the engine. To avoid deformation and ensure good sealing, it's recommended to tighten the manifold screws with a torque wrench at the required torque. Reassemble the timing gear. Remember that the bolt must be tightened at 80 Newton-meter. As mentioned before, any time the timing belt is taken off the pulleys, a new belt must be mounted. Assemble the engine following the instructions already indicated. Use a torque wrench set at 25 Newton-meter to tighten the fuel feed pump. Fit back the starter motor, previously replaced by the tool used to block the crankshaft, and tighten the two screws at 45 Newton-meter. Let us now reconnect all fittings of the fuel circuit. Once the cylinder head has been assembled, check the static timing, as described in another dedicated video, and adjust the valve clearance as already demonstrated in this one. Before fitting the exhaust manifold, replace the gaskets with new ones. Tighten the tri-lobe copper nuts of the manifold at the indicated torque value. On fitting the valve cover, the cylinder head reassembly is completed.